Hey guys, Nuie here, and I'm actually making this video pretty much as just I was going through the Allods forums as I typically do every morning before I upload videos or hop on Allods, and I saw that some people were struggling with understanding how to gear. So I'm just doing a quick rundown of how to gear and how to get gear and how to upgrade your gear in the current 8.1 patch. I am already full rare gear and partial epics. I already am crafting epics, so it's pretty easy for me because I'm just kind of used to it now. But for new players, here's what you want to do. There's two anvils, well, I think there's three anvils. I'm not sure if there's one in MR. There might be, but I know of two anvils that I particularly frequent, which is the one in the lower floor of the Astro's Tower and the one in the Astro Academy. Now, if you're on League side, I only know of the Astro Academy one, and I know there's one in Novigrad somewhere in the center, but I'm not entirely sure because I just don't play League side. But they look the exact same, and this is what it'll look like when you open it up. When you're making your first set of gear, you can get your first set of starter gear from, not this guy, in the Astro Academy, there's a female character here, and she will give you a box that says, it's a box of equipment basically. So when you go to that, she would drop you, and it'll give you a full set of astral gear for all your crafted gear, and it'll also give you some pretty garbage green gear for just like your offhand slots and stuff. Now the update they did do this patch is which allows you to change your stats on all your gear regardless of the efficacy level as well as the whether or not it's crafted or not. This is great because it lets you personally tailor your stats exactly how you want them. So I really think this is a nice change for us where they couldn't do that in the past, and it also makes the use of flaming insignias very nice, but you can also get insignias from battlegrounds and other things to be able to change your stats around to perfectly set them up the way you want them. Now, after you get your first set of green gear, you're going to start running astrals. Astrals can be found through the skirmishes tab by going to the dungeons menu and then going to your different astral allods. There are players from multiple servers. I wouldn't recommend running these if you're on the New Frontier server because I'm not sure how stable they are or how often they pop. But if you just scroll down, then you'll see the normal one for just this server. And these ones pop pretty often. Right now I have up to purple sector S14, which is the epic sector. The next sector will be S15 and 16. 15 will be easy mode, 16 will be hard mode. But this is what it's going to look like for you probably when you first start. It's just going to be the green layers, and if you get a carry, then you can get carried all the way up to epic sector. This will cost you keys, which you need to both get combat. This right here, it'll give you shining shards, which will give you this right here, shining material, and then you will also need shining dust, which comes from these, which is shining matter. Dust is used to upgrade your efficacy of each gear, and combat material is used to create the gear, or shining material is used to create the gear. For blues, you need 300 of the shining material, as well as 13 amol, which is right here, and as well as 5k gold. Each upgrade costs about 330 gold, and you go to the transmutation set here, and as you can see, I have fully upgraded all my gear currently. So for just blue gear, it'll cost you 1 amol, and then 28 shining dust, and 330 gold. At blue gear, this isn't really expensive, especially because the astral boxes will give you about 2k each, so upgrading gear is really not that expensive. And as you go up in astral levels, the amount of gold you get from the boxes is even more, and then selling gear that you just don't use is another way to just keep getting gold. As you can see, this extra thing I have in my bag that I'm going to sell because 1, I can't use it, and 2, it's lower than my weapon, it's worth 625 gold. So that's basically 2 upgrades for you right there. Continuing on, this is the once you have a full set of green gear, you don't need to actually craft these anymore. It's better to go the shining scrolls, because then you can just instead, it won't change the stats of your gear. You won't have to swap out gear. You'll just use this scroll on top of your already your the gear that they gave you from the box that I was talking about previously, the already crafted gear, and then it'll upgrade that to the rare sector, and then you can just upgrade that via the transmutation tab. This is much simpler and is more cost efficient in the long run, even though it's slightly more gold in the beginning. This is also more cost efficient in terms of amalgam, so this is just a better way to upgrade gear all around than just constantly creating the new gear every time. As you gear, you will see this bar below, which shows you how much gear score you need to unlock the next equipment level of gear score. What this means is, as you get a higher amount of gear, you'll be able to craft more things. So as you can see, right now I'm at 114k gear score. When you come down here, I need 119k to be able to unlock leggy crafting. And then I'll get my leggy scroll and my quality ink. Fairy ink is the difference between crafting legendaries and crafting blues, rares, and blues and rares. When you craft leggies and mythics, you need fairy ink to craft these scrolls, or you can just go to the AK. But once again, crafting the fairy ink is much more cost efficient than crafting just crafting the gear outright. It's also better for efficacy. Now, when I talk about efficacy, I mean these percentages which are attack and defense on your gear. Having high, completely maxed out efficacy on each of your gear pieces is incredibly important, and this is also how you determine whether or not a piece of gear is better for you and not inside of running astrals. Because when you look at a drop, it'll come up and it'll say the efficacy of that drop. It'll be so. What my current shoulders are, it's just on the right side here, is the 86% offense and defense efficacy. This current leather belt will be a 84-79 defensive. So as you can see, my belt is already better. So I won't swap these out. This also, but this is good for you in terms of like just overall stats. The more stats that you have, the better. So you don't want to swap out a lower efficacy gear, especially now that you can change any stat on any piece of gear. So there's no more need to just swap for a lower piece of efficacy gear in turn for a higher amount of stats that you want. Now, the final thing I wanted to cover is just this new aspect here, which is artifacts. The artifacts were newly added in this 8.1 patch, and they are right here and right here. The first one is the Freedom Mirror, and if you run first off you need Theta Elixirs, which you can get from doing battleground skirmishes. It costs 200 emblems, so it's a little bit costly, but you can also go to the cash shop item, and for 6 or 32 shards, if you type in creation, create, there we go, creators, my bad. If you type in that, you can go first 32 or for 6. I went for the 32 just because I have the amount I had, so it turns 10 meters of Theta Elixirs into 40. This is super easy to do, and I farm gold, so as I'm a free-to-play player, so I don't spend money in this game, even though I would like to at some point because I love this game, but at the moment I'm free-to-play, so I just farm gold and do the exchange. The exchange is about 5k, but to be honest, when you're running Allods constantly and running Astral constantly, doing your battleground emblems, getting gold is really not as difficult as it might outright seem to a new player. So it's a little bit easier than it seems at first. I know it can be challenging at first, but once you get into the game, it's significantly easier than it seems. But this is the symbol that you'll want for changing the amount of elixirs. So it'll change either 10 of the elixir into either 40 or 20 respectively. And then you need either Extinguished Dust of Creation or Dust of Creation. Extinguished Dust of Creation comes from running Secret Pass, which is a queuable raid. So you just go, once again, back to your Dungeons tab and go to Raids, and then go to Secret Pass Easy, and then you can just queue up that way, and there you see the Extinguished Dust. One full clear of Secret Pass Easy will give you 400 extinguish dust creation. So if you run it twice in a week, or you run it twice in like, because you can technically run it twice in a week because the reset is on Thursday. So then you can run it, if you run it on Wednesday, it'll then reset, and then you can run it again on Thursday and get the measure of dust you need. You need 600 dust and 50k gold to create your first freedom mirror, and then you can continue upgrading it. If you scroll down here, then you can see the Odes of Freedom, which cost more fate elixirs and more extinguished dust to continue upgrading your seals. These are pretty strong in terms of PvP and PvE because they offer boosts in terms of just overall abilities. When you use an ability and you have this mirror active, then it'll activate the extra effect on top of this. But take in mind, these mirrors do have cooldowns on these abilities, such as you can see the Martyr's Gift one, which gives 6 seconds. I am getting my first one today, but I just don't have it right now because I need to go run Secret Pass, and hopefully I'll see you guys in that. But yeah, that's the first one that you can get. If you already had Mythic gear at the beginning of this patch, then you already have this and you already have it fully upgraded. So good job to you, and congrats for gearing. But if you don't have it, this is how you're gonna be able to get it this patch. The new one that also is this patch, which no one has right now, unless you've already no one has it right now. I'm gonna be entirely honest. People are probably working towards it, and people will probably have it soon. But right now, nobody has this as of yet. This is the new one that's coming out. In order to get this one, you need 600 Fate Elixirs, and you need 600 Dust of Creation. Dust of Creation and Extinguished Dust of Creation are different. In order to get Dust of Creation, you need to run the new raid, which just became active. It's called the Observatory, and this will give you not only Fate Elixirs, it'll also give you the new Dust of Creation. I assume it's the same amount, so I assume it's about 400 per run. So 400 Dust of Creation per run, and about 90, 120 Fate Elixirs per run. So this is great, but that does mean you have to complete the raid. Again, this is 50k, so it's still a little bit costly, but it's worth it in the outrun because, as you can see, looking at the abilities, upon entering combat, you achieve Scribing Victory, which increases all damage dealt and reduced by 10%. So this is a nice ability, and it's not really OP because it's available to all players. So I mean, yes, the initial players who get it first will be like a little bit stronger overall, but since it's available to all players, it's nothing to be complaining about or anything like that. So this is my rundown on just gearing, the new artifacts, and where to get everything. I hope this was helpful to you all. Please be sure to leave comments and anything else you guys need below. Once again, I do have a new Patreon set up, so if you guys head over to patreon.com/NuieG, the link will be in the description below. You can become my Patreon and help support me, help me continue getting out Allods content, and if you become a high enough level in my Patreon, if you look at it, I have levels. If you become a high enough level in Patreon, you can even send me different tips or different video ideas that you want to see me create segments for, and I'll create segments for those on Allods or League or even Path of Exile. So I just want to say thank you guys all for the support. Once again, I had broken 5,000 views, so shout out to all of you guys for checking out my videos, and thank you so much. I hope this guide was helpful. I will be on forums pretty constantly, so if I see another video or another post that I think I need to get a video out for, then I would definitely look at that, and I definitely look into creating a video for that. But I'm gonna head out, and I'm gonna get into some raids and dungeons, so I hope you guys catch me all later. Heaven sent my residence is every day just visiting, blending.